All right, guys, welcome to podcast number 12 for Rising Summoners Community. I am your host, Toe Knuckles. I'll be your host from now on. I'll do these bi-weekly podcasts, and I'll have a guest panel each week. This week, we're going to kick it off with none other than the man himself, Elucid, your play-by-play color commentator for RML, and oftentimes you can hear him on other streams as well, Lombax Pie Boy, and your in-house leader, Princess Vi. We'll be hitting all of these guest panelists up some point throughout the evening. We're going to go through a topic-by-topic breakdown and just give you guys a little bit of information about what's going on behind the scenes and what you guys can expect going forward, and kind of some of the staff's thoughts on what has gone down and transpired already. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in with Princess Vi herself, and we're going to cover in-houses, since those are probably the thing that have been most talked about in our community over the last 2 weeks. And we're going to get right down into it and get our hands all muddy and talk about what we have experienced with in-houses and what we expect going forward. So how you doing tonight, Princess Vi?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good myself. So most basic question, what are your feelings having run in-houses in different servers and then being brought into Rising to help implement your system in our community and kind of retool the in-house system? What are your thoughts on how the in-houses have gone so far since we rolled those back out?
Well, definitely the first one was a bit bumpy. I probably overstepped with myself trying to figure out doing it all on my own. So after that night and having some issues with others and stacking teams apparently, and some people not showing up and having to combine teams together, it made it kind of difficult. So after the first in-house is we took some feedback from everybody and we tried to maybe set back the time that people can register until, and that seemed to definitely go better. And since our bot isn't up and running yet, we tried a new system. I bounced ideas back and forth between the community, and we decided to do a tournament style yesterday. And I think that went a lot better, and people were more happy about it. So I definitely think that bouncing these ideas between everybody in the staff and the community and asking for feedback definitely helps a lot. And moving forward, our bot should be done shortly. So we'll be moving back into our original in-house system.
All right, a couple things you touched on that I want to kind of get you to expand on a little bit more is the first thing is the community feedback. You want to go ahead and let our listeners know, and our future listeners that may watch this on the VOD, how can they better, what's the easiest way for them to give you their feedback?
I mean, I'm always open to personal messages. My DMs are always open. We have a Google Doc form that you can fill out after you either competed in the custom games, or you could message anybody on the staff team for sure. Anyone's open to it.
All right, and then the other thing that you kind of briefly brought up, I'm going to call it the Trinecki bot, since Taco Trinecki is the one that decided to go ahead and step up to the plate and design that bot for you. What can our in-house participants expect? How is this going to make things easier and more improved what is the bot going to do to kind of help the situation with in-houses?
So the bot basically is going to create the teams for us, and it will do it based on your physical rank, and it will make sure the teams are easily fair and that we aren't stacking the teams ourselves. I mean, we aren't doing it on purpose anyway, but some complaints have been happening with that, so this bot will definitely help regulate that. But the bot will basically, you will type in a certain command, and it'll open up the signups for participants, and we'll open it up about 20 minutes beforehand, and then you can type in a certain command and then your in-game name and your rank, and a list will pop up and it will show your name and your rank and along with the others that have signed up. And then through that point, once we have 10 participants, it will split the teams up fairly, and you will be able to get your tournament code and go ahead and start your game. So with that, that leads into a ranking system that we came up with. And personally, I think this ranking system will be a lot of fun for the community, and it'll show the competitive side of what we have to offer for Rising Summoners. So basically, what we're trying to do is every month we'll have a new kind of season. The month may vary. I might make it to 2 months so we can have more of a chance for people to participate since we only do 2 in-houses per week. And to even get on a ranking system, we want to have everyone play 3 placement matches. And after that, you'll be placed on a rank ladder. The top 40 members will show up, but you can check your own personal stats by a certain command. So basically, with the ranking system, you'll compete in a 5v5 and climb up our rank ladder as you win. Each individual player on the winning team receives 5 points every game you win, and you'll subtract 2 points every time you lose. You won't lose any points if you don't have any, because we don't want to make people negative, because sometimes the teams are kind of hard to be fair, and I know some people have issues and some people are toxic, and going off of that, and this bot will keep track of the point system for you. So with that being said, if you are a top player or in the top 4 players, you lose 6 points every 4 days you do not participate in a game. Not 4 days even though we're not hosting. So it's 4 days we host in-house games. And basically, so you lose 6 points if you're a top player if you don't keep playing. And then if you are in the top 4 players, you lose 5 of the rank weekly. And then so on.
All right. So it mirrors kind of a solo queue-esque system that you have to keep participating and the goal is to climb. So I really look forward to how that shapes in-houses once we get that bot implemented. And it sounds like you have a strong plan in order to organize our in-house system as it goes forward. Right now, I want to kick it over to Elucid, and kind of, since you're the head and the face of the RSC community, what is the importance of getting in-houses back to you?
In-houses were pretty much what the community was built on originally, because we had coaches who would sit down and watch in-houses, and they would give feedback and advice to the players, and then the players would be more interested to come back and keep playing because they would continuously get feedback. Obviously, there's no ladder system that we had before, but there are some perks to the ladder system as it entices more people to join different ranks. For me, in-houses have been the most exciting because you get to play with people in the community rather than just go through weeks and weeks of RPL and not realize that there's other people in the community who are actually pretty interesting to talk to. I've made pretty good friends just sitting here and playing in-house sometimes, or just getting to know people. So in-house is definitely a great way to get to know people, improve at the game, and just have fun.
All right, you hinted on something that we'll talk about later in the podcast, but for now, we are going to go ahead and we're going to discuss the other big staple feature in the Rising Summoners community, and that is actually our competitive 5v5 leagues. And in order to help me talk about that, I'm going to go ahead and bounce some stuff off of Lucid.
Wait. I know we're trying to follow a mark here, but I just want to quickly run back to the in-houses because there are there's been questions, complaints, and overall it's been really 50-50 because personally, there are people who I've seen who have said, oh yeah, in-houses are run a lot better now, and there's been people who said, in-houses are a little bit unbalanced or, a little bit weird in terms of how it is now, before, compared as before, because obviously before we had a very simple design, but now we're kind of reaching a different level of complexity. So, I guess my real question for in-houses and in the direction we're going in, and I really want to work with in-houses first before I do anything else in the server to really fix this, because I think the tournaments are going fine. The other stuff we're working on is fine for now. Improve them as we move on forward, but for now, that's something I want to really, I guess, iron out and make sure it doesn't cause future issues. And even if it does, it should be easily combated or just approached when we go for it. So my question is, how are we looking to streamline it? Because right now, if someone joined the server, unless they had been on the server for about a week and a half, they would have realistically no idea how to join in-houses. Just because the welcome page is very outdated, but that will be updated, obviously, and mostly because the overall process of the in-houses, I don't know if you know, Toe Knuckles, but that in-house welcome page is like a page and a half. So it's pretty big. Something like it's a big chunk to take in all at once.
It can be pretty intimidating to a new member of the community, that is for sure. So
I guess I didn't really direct the question, but I get Princess Vi. How would we? How I like the idea that we are going to do seasonal in-houses, because a lot of if you know mobile games, they do that, and it's really healthy for that environment because it just keeps it refreshing for the new players, because obviously mobile games are not as esports-esque as like League of Legends, for example, but because they can do constant updates without really any feedback from the community, just because they're mobile. And so I like season tournaments. So people come and go, so it's kind of nice for people who oh, I had a rough season this one, but next season I won't be completely screwed for a complete year like I am in solo queue, for example. If your win rate, for example, drops below 50. So I do like that, and I also like the idea of how the points are set up. It's very simple. There's no extra calculations. It's just 5 for win, 2 for loss. But my question is the people who don't get to play for a week, for example, and we host 4 of them, and they're just losing points. I don't know. Something for me at least is that since the season only lasts 4 weeks, we have about 12 in-houses, right? 4 times 3.
Yeah.
So at max we have 12 games, or 12 in-houses, with each of them having 2, maybe 4 per in-house. So it's 48. Is that my math right? 36 to 48, 24 to 48. Sorry.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so it's a decent amount of games, for sure. But the whole decay thing is just really weird. I don't know. For me, it's just it's just a season, right? You're it's gonna reset anyway. So what's the point of doing a decay system?
Well, see, the decay system. Well, hold on. Let me step back first. So,
because I know there's camping, right? You just get the highest rank above the last guy, and then you just sit there and don't play anymore for the rest of the season until someone passes you up. You can do that potentially, but I don't really see that as a problem.
I mean, you would decay points, and then other people who are playing would pass you. That would be the issue with just getting to the top and not playing anymore. So we want the whole point of the decay system is, one, so people have more of a competition to get to the top, and you get prizes at the top. So with that, basically, even with having this bot, what I hope to hold on. Let me think about this here, because I'm trying to say 5 things at once. Get out of my room. That is my brother. I'm very sorry about that.
It's alright. I'll leave the room.
Okay. This is what I'm going to say. With the bot that is being created, I want to host customs basically every day. And I want to basically have a couple people who can just open the in-house customs when they want to host them for our team and our community. Not just having it 2 days a week, which is nice, yes, because you have a schedule, but we can still have the schedule every day. We'll just have specific people running it on specific days, on a layout form, how we do for our casting and stuff like that. So going back to the decay system, you will have a huge chance to make it to the top, and other people can join in. And I get what you're saying. It's kind of confusing when you first get here and you're like, what the heck is in-houses? Because some people don't even know what that is. Some people just refer to it as a custom game. So with in-house customs, I try to make it pretty laid out, but I might make a different welcome page now that you bring that up, just explaining what it is. And besides, like, because basically all it's saying in the page is the bot commands, anyone can use them, why do we create it, and then the seasons and how it works in the decay system. So maybe I'll make a new welcome page to help like explain it better for the community.
Mm-hmm. Eltherios brings up a good point. Why would I start a game if a guy who wants to join is much better than me? Well, obviously because you have to reflect yourself. As like, do you want to play in-houses for fun? Do you want to get a lot of practice out of it? Or do you want to, continue? I mean, like the whole idea of in-houses is to put yourself with the other community members and duke it out to see who wins. But you might get put into a scenario where, hey, I'm a Silver 1 player against Diamond 1, a Plat 5, and a Plat 3. And we also have a Diamond 1, Plat 5, Plat 3, but I have to lane against the Diamond 1. And then it's like, why would I want to do that? But obviously, you're not losing really anything. If anything, you're gaining by playing against someone better than you. Might even pick up something. You could potentially message them after the game. There's just a lot of openings it just offers to you as well.
I think the important thing to remember about in-houses is it's supposed to be the casual form of us playing together as a community in comparison to the 5v5 tournaments and quote-unquote league tournament, whatever you want to refer to them as. And so teams aren't always going to be straight up 5 golds versus 5 golds, and that's okay because the whole point of in-houses is 1, for fun, it's a relaxed environment, and 2 is to match you against players of varying skill levels so you can grow your own game and not just play against the same level of competition and never really get better. And so the point system and the prizes that were talked about in the advertisement of the in-houses aren't something that's there to be hardcore, I'm going to be cutthroat to try and get this prize. We're talking a little bit of RP just to give you something to not just casually goof around and somewhat take the game seriously. But the main purpose is to have fun, play with members of your community, learn from others that are better than you, help teach others that may not be as good as you, and just basically be a community.
Exactly. And as I was saying earlier, like with the bot itself, it's going to place you on a team accordingly and fairly. Like it's not going to be stacked. It's like I understand people kind of get upset when you have to lane against a diamond player, but everyone has to do it. Even in normal queue rank on League of Legends, you get placed against people that are higher than you all the time. Like you can't I understand you're going to dwell on it, but you cannot do that. It's for fun. It's not supposed to just be, oh, I'm winning against this dude. He's toxic. No. Like, it's supposed to be a fun community with, like he said, a prize at the beginning.
It's League of Legends. I don't expect anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm personally throwing in a prize just so people, like, want to come back and enjoy the games and, like, have a little competition between everybody.
Yep, I agree with all of that. It's really
yeah.
Go ahead.
To quick point to one of the questions I saw in chat. Katz asked if there was a plan to keep in-houses streamed when we eventually get enough people and we get the system up and running to its fullest capacity to go 5 days a week. What we would probably do is maybe stream in-houses one of those days, but not necessarily stream them all 5 days or whatever.
I think 1 to 2 days per week is like our maximum goal. Is what we would be potentially looking forward to.
And like with that, I'm gonna try to set up different types of in-houses for different days. Like you can sign up a team some days. We'll put you on a team and do tournament style like we did yesterday, which a lot of people seem to enjoy.
I think people enjoyed it, but what I particularly didn't like, and I mean, I talked to the people who were just sitting around and they didn't really care potentially, but I think for the future tournaments we should look to do a Swiss tournament, which is basically the same thing we were doing here. It's just the winning team would essentially keep playing the winning team. So it's like you're kind of enforcing a challenge onto the winning teams, and the losing
Yeah.
teams are still playing like people of their kind of skill, and they're not being like, hey, we get next game, we just lost this game against an even ranked team, and now we're gonna have to play someone who's like a little bit better than us. I mean, it's obviously we're balancing the teams, but it's like there's still gonna be a little bit of gaps in like where the skill is because of the different lane matchups and dynamics.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. The only reason I didn't end up doing a Swiss tournament was because some people like started the game before I even told like them to go. So it was originally Swiss tournament style, and then it got mixed up. So I had to make sure I had to keep like pressing the randomize button for the teams and hope that they came on the right bracket because I couldn't edit the bracket physically. So that's the only reason it wasn't Swiss tournament.
okay.
But like a Swiss tournament style is so much more fun, and you get to play against like the whole team. It brings it out a lot longer, but it might cause an issue if there's a lot of teams that sign up.
Yeah,
And
as long as there's an even number of teams, I think there shouldn't be any potential problems. But yeah, I
Yeah.
could see some issues in the future. But
And
yeah, I think they
while-
went great yesterday.
While criticisms at this stage are welcome and they are fair, it's important to take your experiences with a grain of salt because we're implementing a system that is designed to run with a bot that kind of
Doesn't exist.
does all the calculations and helps make the in-house program that we're implementing run smoother. And so the fact that we're kind of doing this all by hand right now, you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. But we are 30 minutes into the podcast, and I definitely know we have a lot more to talk about than just in-houses.
All right,
So
let's get
so
going.
much.
Let's get going.
So we're going to bounce to some of our other topics, and we may bring up in-houses in a future podcast and just check the temperature of how things are going after we maybe get a bot or kind of see how things go from there. But right now,
you want to jump to the coaching section first, and then we can go back to midway.
Absolutely, because you did bring up coaching as one of the reasons when I asked you about why in-houses were important to you. You mentioned coaching. So let's go ahead and jump into coaching. The important note is it's coming back. So I'm guessing that means we have coaches that are about to sign on and start helping us out again.
Yes. When we used to do coaching, it was one of my personal favorite times because we used to do it with some of the people in the community. The coaches and I would sit together and we would do podcasts of our own on separate days talking about patch notes, new champions and stuff. And it was a lot of fun, and we posted them on YouTube. A lot of people actually liked the series that we were doing, but we actually went 2 videos and then stopped because it was a lot of work to do, especially to a lot of time to do it, which is the main issue. But we are going to try to bring coaching back. It's something I fundamentally care about, more so than the other stuff, but ultimately, okay, Microsoft Edge. But we're going to look to bring back one-on-one coaching. That is one particular thing I really want back, and we're going to really ask the coaches to commit to us and give us their time in return. You know, they get to educate players, maybe build some knowledge for themselves to market themselves better to let's say they want to go for like a professional team or they want to do like a semi-pro team, college team, for example. This would be a great opportunity for those kind of people. We are also going to try to do 1 seminar per month, maybe. Like, that's not like guaranteed, maybe 1 every 2 months, but it's going to be basically like a league coaching class, and we're just going to have a coach host a class where they talk about any particular thing they think is relevant at the moment or important to understand as a player, and they will post it. We'll open up sign up, and you'll have, I think it'll be a maximum of like 20 players at any time for any class, and we'll go from there, see how coaches think about that. Seminars have always been pretty popular, but you haven't really had the coaches for that part, so that's something we could look forward to. And my biggest thing that I want to do once again, I guess, is get coaches and have them really become ingrained as members in our community by having them do our original, what's it called? Original series that we were doing called RS Review, which is we just go over League of Legends updates. So patch updates, new champion releases, and anything we saw particularly interesting. Like I saw one time that there was a Korean team doing something interesting, and I wanted to talk about it, and I brought it up. And so there's just anything that's educational, we'll kind of try to push out with patch review or maybe whatever it is, the RS review section. So that's pretty much what we're going in for coaching. And there's a little bit extra to the coaching thing. Not sure if we're allowed to reveal yet, but that's kind of for the future as well. So,
you hit on seminars, so just to kind of get more information out to the community, what types of seminars would these be? Would it be like the third Saturday of the month from like 1 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern? All mid laners can go and do like coaching review on a certain champion with a mid lane coach, or like what is it? Like what type of seminars is this going to be? Like mass, what positional, or is it going to be just kind of hit everybody in a position group, or is it going to be VOD reviews with a certain team, or how are seminars going to work in your mind?
In my mind, it's gonna be kind of like a curriculum-based kind of thing where we'll have like coaches create their own curriculum, and they'll be like, hey, every month I want to teach a class where I talk about CSing in month one, so I'll have a CS 101, and then we'll have like a minion wave control. It will be one subject. How to play certain champions, maybe. If like I know there's Economical who plays a lot of Echo, and there's a lot of people who'd be maybe interested in learning Echo because there's something about Jungle Echo coming back next patch or something. But so that's just an example. So it really just depends on what the coaches want to do. So if coaches want to, let's say, talk about basics, then they can do that, or they can talk about individual champions, or they can talk about a specific lane. Just really whatever they want.
All right. So you guys got the idea on what is coming back with coaching, and I'm sure as we as a staff get more of that lined up, as in we get more coaches, we kind of know what the coaches are bringing to the table, that information will be dispersed as we kind of get it and can filter it out to you. Let's go ahead and
I just want to answer a couple questions, or the one question in chat, which is basically asking what rank is our coaches going to be required to be. We used to set it at Plat 5. I'm gonna push it down a little bit to Gold 5 as a coach, because I've recognized that a lot of the fundamental and understanding coaches who can really relate to players and work with them are the ones who are relatively lower elo. Like if you know Monte Cristo, he used to do a little bit of just around the block coaching, and he was Gold 3, I think, at the time. So a lot of it has to do with player game understanding and acknowledging how players think and understand. You don't potentially have to be good at anything. Like, for example, all casters and analysts have not actually been professional players or understood the game at a high level, but they still have a decent amount of game knowledge where they could even potentially coach if that was an option to them. So yeah, like Kat said, a lot of good coaches are gold, and that's true. I've actually worked with a couple of gold coaches, and they're actually really great.
Yeah, there's a difference between knowing the game and being able to make your hands do what your brain wants it to do. So,
Yep.
And it's finding those people that can maybe not perform, but can teach other people to perform and disseminate that information, help them in the macro sense, or even in the micro sense, maybe picking up tips, like you said, with Economical, teaching players how to maximize the damage output on a champion or survivability if they're having struggles with that, and so on and so forth. But we're going to go ahead and jump to the big meat and potatoes of the current podcast and what's currently going on in the league, and that is our RPL, Prestige and Championship, and RML seasons. And for this, we're going to keep Elucid because he does all the stats, so he kind of has an idea what's going on. We're going to also bring in the caster that is new this season but is very impactful and very talented. And if you guys haven't got a chance to listen to his casting, he primarily does it for RML on Sunday evenings. He has been featured on a couple other casts, but none other than Lombax Pie Boy. How you doing, Lombax?
Pretty good. I appreciate the compliments, but I don't know if you'd say that if you'd seen my play-by-play casting.
It's all right. We all have things we're working on. That's why we bring in coaching. I don't know if we're bringing in coaching for. I don't know if we're bringing in coaching for casters, but
Where's Rivington Bislin III? I need some help with my play-by-play.
I'll email Freak and see if he has any pointers for you. So.
Perfect.
Anyway, so what are your thoughts so far? I mean, that's a really broad question. I guess I'll narrow it down. In your opinion, the RML that has been going on, it's the first time we've had anything above a gold cap league, and it is an uncapped league with a bunch of college teams, a bunch of talented players, and you have gotten to cast several games for the RML.
Yeah.
I just want to know, how exciting is this to someone that may be in the Rising Summoners community and hasn't watched it yet? Kind of give us your spiel, your advertising pitch on why they should tune into the RML on Sundays.
Well, the really big advantage with the RML is that you are getting these higher elo players. So it's not just that they have good game knowledge, they also have really good mechanics. So you can get fairly similar to LCS level players in this league. Some of them are masters. I think we had a challenger jungler as well. So it does make the game significantly more interesting when you get to see these skill matchups between players who have put a ton of work into certain champions and do get a hold of them. As well, on top of that, it's very organized compared to one of the lower ELO leagues. These teams do put in work, especially as the university and college teams, because they are playing against others. They put a lot of work into their teamwork and their macro. So you get to see a lot more of those kind of games, specific draft picks and proper drafting as well. We saw the relevance of Caitlyn and Janna actually just this past weekend in the RML. It was, we had
this weekend
University
was
of Houston versus
I think it was
University of Virginia.
University
It was University of Virginia that pulled it out, and they won that game in, what was it, 24 minutes, I think, where they did pull it out. And the previous week, they had actually pulled that out and won in 18 minutes with it. So showing just how much the buffs actually affected Caitlyn.
Yeah, I really enjoy the RML games. That's something I personally watch more so than the Prestige and Championship, but that's mostly because of the time. The time to, like the schedule is just bad for me. I guess I'll just say that, so I don't sound like a bad guy here. In
general, though, the Rising Major League definitely provides a lot of the higher tier, more similar to LCS gameplay that most people would be used to watching if they're interested in League of Legends esports.
So now we've talked about the RML as far as reasons to watch it. Is there been any certain players, like specific players, or I guess you've already kind of alluded to there being play styles that have impressed you, but what about any individual players that stand out?
I have 4 players that stand out to me. Absolutely insane players. The ADC of UVA, his name is Some Kid, and there was a couple of scenario where I think it was like, just watching UVA play, I felt like game 1 was a little bit rusty for them just because they weren't. It felt more like they haven't really played together as a team as often as you would imagine. There were some miscommunications and Callista going a little over aggressive without the team being around and getting caught out like once or twice, but overall his performance on Callista was pretty insane.
Absolutely monster.
Yeah. He pretty much solo carried the Callista game at the end. I mean, he almost soloed through the game, but that's beside the point. But player 2, IR Timmy of UVA. Obviously because he's a master mid laner, and I think compared to the other mid laners in the league, the only one that really comes toe to toe with him is Hopper's OP.
Yeah, I was just going to say the rebuttal to IR Timmy is Popper's OP.
We didn't play this weekend, so that was not something I was looking forward to, because I was like, oh, they lost game 1, but game 2, Popper's coming, and then they put in Hero, and I'm like, who's this guy?
Yeah,
So,
that is sort of the one unfortunate thing with University of Houston. They seem to have a little bit of trouble with getting everyone to show up for all the games. I know in the first game we casted, I believe it was Alex HO that had to sit out for that one, and then
yeah,
in the second one, Poppers OP did not manage to show up.
yeah.
So that I think affects their gameplay a lot because if you're swapping roles repeatedly, you might be able to perform decently at like a solo queue level, but to come up against somebody like University of Virginia or Central Michigan University who have really good teamwork, it becomes a lot harder to win the game.
Yeah, and I think week 1 when we saw CMU versus was it PUG?
Yes.
So week 1, I personally thought PUG was an absolute monster of a team. So I think my top 3 teams in the league right now are UVA, UOH, and PUG, with DNA coming in close third. I would say I could give it to either or, but
If the entire team shows up and they all play their roles.
yeah, for sure. But if UOH has these kind of roster issues, I would definitely put DNA in top 3.
Yeah.
But CMU, who I didn't really expect to show like very impressive performance, absolutely stunning performance in game 1 and 2, even though they lost. Like they played really well compared to like the ranks of players they were playing. So I guess ranks really don't matter at that level as long as you have the teamwork to back it up.
Yeah.
So and then the remaining 2 players are, honestly, I just love all the ADCs, I guess. But UOH's AD, Atif, what's his name?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. My favorite duo bot lane. I'm not giving Banshee Rush my 4th favorite slot, but Banshee Rush and Atif is that those 2 games, they were the whole team. He's the only player I've seen who has not deliberately put himself into the Ardent meta, and he has picked Thresh. So that for me was like, this man, he's looking for it. But yeah, their duo was great. They set up
He's
a lot
shown
of
a lot
kills.
of diversity in his picks as well. I think in everything we've casted, I don't think he's actually double picked any supports. He played like the Karma. I think he played a game of Lulu. Played that Thresh as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he has shown like a lot of diversity in his ability to pick different supports and still succeed on them.
Yep, and my 4th person is King Georgie, because that DNA game 1 where they almost lost, Jesus Christ, he put that team on his back, and he bought it back with that Twitch. I mean, I absolutely hate Twitch. He's just an obnoxious champion. But yeah, Georgie was a monster. I haven't stopped talking about him all week, actually. I've pretty much been like, hey, you play Twitch, you should look up King Georgie. Just to mess with people. But yeah, so that's just my RML spiel, I guess.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and bounce because of the fact that a lot of our players in the community are on the website. They kind of know what's going on. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time just because there's probably going to be another tier list come out before playoffs anyway, and that'll be where we talk about each individual team more in depth. But we're going to go ahead and bounce to Prestige League. Prestige League right now, just looking at it, Council of Yorick's firm grip on first place. They've only dropped a single game so far this season with an undefeated match record. And then sitting right behind them is Team Phoenix Fire, and their only loss is to Council of Yorick's. Those 2 seem to be the clear top 2 in the league. And then we look at the rest of the league, and it seems as if there are about 8 of the 10 teams are actually 9 of the 10 teams are all relatively close in the standings. I mean, the number 3 seed and the technically number 9 seed are only 4 points apart. That's not a big difference considering how easy it is to get points with a 2-0 victory. You could catch up, be 1 point behind within 1 week. So teams like Taste Like Purple, Blood Moon Esports, S4, Clorox Bleach, XD, these teams are all in the middle of the pack right now, and they all have a chance to make a run and kind of solidify their playoff spot here in the next coming weeks. What have been your impressions so far? I know both of you have more familiarity with RML, but out of the little bit that you have seen RPL,
I've been watching RPL for 4 seasons now, so I mean, see, the thing is like I really like this season particularly because we've never had a season where one team was like arguably neck and neck with another team that was in the top slot. Like season 1 we had a 12-2 team. Season 2 we had pretty much the same thing. We had the same thing season 3 and season 4 here we are. But this is a season we have a 4-0 and a 3-1. So these guys are pretty much like I think they're the only series COIR has like lost a game. That just shows like these guys are close. So hopefully we'll see them in the finals.
Sir, I beg to differ.
Oh,
Season 3 Prestige, Tastes Like Purple was neck and neck with Clorox Bleach until the finals.
Then the finals game happened. Fair enough.
But in the middle of the season, we were neck and neck. So yeah.
Fair enough. I just felt like Clorox Bleach was very strong.
Speaking of Council of Yorks and your love for ADCs, the game I casted on the weekend from Council of York, Never, absolute beast, 10-0 and 14 over the 2 games.
One thing about Never, I'm actually really familiar with Never and Council of Yorks. We bounce ideas off each other between us. When I say us, I'm talking about Tastes Like Purple, of course. One thing about Never and Council of Yorks is they have a firm understanding of the meta. And I've said this multiple times on different streams, and I just want to give credit because, when you have the number 1 team that's out there and they've only lost 1 game so far through 4 weeks, they really do deserve credit. But they have a firm understanding of what is strong in the meta and how to build team comps to take advantage of that. And so you may not have necessarily the strongest player for each role on Council of Yorks, but you have the best overall team. It's one of those examples of the sum is greater than I lost that phrase. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. I think that's what I was trying to say. So it's one of those things where just because of the fact that each player plays to their role really well within the team, it really lets the whole team shine. So
from what I've seen as well, they seem to be really good at getting advantages in the drafting. Both games they walked away with the Zyra Khan bottom lane, which is a monstrous duo. Like if you play it properly, it's really difficult to lose lane. They had Galio in game 1 as well. Really fantastic for setting up dive plays with the Kayn. They just seem to have a good grasp of what to trade for other picks so that they can get advantages both in team fights and small skirmishes.
Right. Now, there are some teams that I do expect to possibly shoot up the standings if they can ever get consistency on Saturday nights. TLP and XD both have strong rosters, but have had issues getting players to show up. And I know that's kind of hurt them so far in the early season. And unfortunately, Blood Moon Esports has kind of had the same problem from what I understand about how they had roster struggles at the beginning. And that's going to happen. But hopefully those teams that are dealing with roster issues do get a chance to get those corrected and show what they're really capable of and maybe sneak their way into the playoffs and kind of get a fresh start once playoffs start. Let's go ahead and kick it over to Championship. Championship so far, from what I understand, has kind of been a race.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything in Championship, I'll be honest. Not sure what's going on, but there's two 4-0 teams.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's been a race so far between 2 teams that haven't played each other yet. One team hasn't lost a single game yet. One team, Team Solo Feed, has gone 4-0 in match record, I'm sorry, I keep saying this in
Series record.
Series record. I say match in game, but it means series match, so whatever. But they've gone 4-0 in series, which means they've had 2 2-1s. So kind of unfortunate that they dropped a game, but we were able to go ahead and bounce back and not let the game loss derail their chances for a series victory. Daycare sitting strongly behind them at 3-1. So I'm not 100% sure, but if I had to guess, I'm gonna say they probably lost to one of the top two teams, which, if that makes them a very strong number 3 seed, possibly even number 2 seed, depending upon which of those two teams they lost to. If they could take a game off the other one.
Oh, there was a bug in the system. Apparently, so what happened was that RSG started on the wrong side for the OKT game, so RSG has a win and OKT has a loss. So TSF is actually 4-0 and OKT is 3-1. I actually forgot to change this, but it's becoming a reoccurring problem, so we potentially might not change it. So OKT isn't technically 2-0 or 8-0, sorry. That just flips everything, huh?
Yeah, it kind of does. So now that means we have a clear number 1. So far, it's only 4 weeks, but it'll be interesting to see what happens when Team Solo Feed squares off against OKT. And yeah, kind of what you guys were saying. I am familiar with some of the players in Championship, but I kind of use Monday since they stream VODs and it's not live games, if I'm being 100% honest, to catch up on things I need to do for the community that I didn't get to do over the weekend. So I'll usually watch the first game, don't watch the rest of it, just kind of check out how my casters are doing and things like that. So I know that, yeah, that's about all I can say as far as Championship. I'll try and watch more of those guys, so I apologize if you are in Championship and you expected me to hype you up. Can't really do that at this point, but I promise I'll watch more of your games on Mondays and be more prepared to give you some love on the next stream. But that's going to be our league rundown so far for this podcast. We're not going to, like I said, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it just because we probably will have another tier list, a pre-playoffs tier list, I guess is what we'll call it, right towards the very end of the season. So it'll be really interesting to see how people were ranked in week 2 and how they finished the season ranked. But we're going to go ahead and just jump into some potpourri of subjects. And the first and most important in the potpourri section, the variety segment, is something that some of you may have heard about through the grapevine. I don't know if there was an announcement on it or not, but
We have not announced it at all. We have kept it under secrets.
do we want to go ahead and make the announcement on the podcast? Is this where we want to make the big splash?
Well, we just want them to know what's happening as opposed to, just actually letting them know. But basically, we're going to be sponsored in the future. Obviously, this season most likely. We are going to get to work alongside them as well to help our coaching section as well. So that's the kind of the surprises. So it's still technically a surprise because you don't know what we're doing. But no, not by Pepsi. They're a great partner. I use their software almost every day. So if you know me, you probably can figure it out. But yeah, they're fantastic. I'm looking forward to working with them. I'm hoping that the community will definitely continue to grow alongside what they will be working when they work with us. So overall, I'm just very excited.
So I don't know if we're going to release the name at this point since it's not official, but just know that it is a company that is very, very widely used in the league community. As soon as it becomes more official, I'm sure Elucid will make a post letting you know the details and kind of what's going on, what we stand to gain more specifically from the sponsorship. But we are finalizing details with that. Other RSC projects in the works. Of course, we're looking at hosting tournaments kind of in between seasons, because we're not going to do anything in the preseason as far as a league because of the fluctuation of the balance in the game and everybody learning the new runes, new things like that. But we are looking to host tournaments. Alicia, do you want to go in more into that? Because I don't kind of want to give away too much information, but without it being finalized, I'm kind of just teasing it.
Alright, honestly, you're gonna have to ask me that one again because I did not follow that much.
I was talking about off season, quote unquote. So in between.
In between this season and then next season?
Yeah, some of the tournaments and people that we've been talking to about.
Yeah, we could potentially release that information now because they've reached out to us. Pretty much everything that we've gotten a chance to do or are planning to do has been basically because someone else reached out to us, and honestly, the opportunity that is being presented to us is very nice. And so, just to be frank, Upsurge is willing to kind of work with us to make a winter invitational tournament. They're already hosting it, but basically we're trying to be bought in to work with them for the season while we take kind of like a month break before we come back for next season. And in this time, we would allow teams to. It would be basically an open tournament, so I don't really know how big the tournaments are, but they're saying 32 teams, but seems a little ambitious if you ask me. But plausible nonetheless. Yeah, we're still deciding as a admin and executive board of directors if we want to undertake this, because obviously it's gonna be a lot of work during the holidays, and we're gonna have to put in extra hours to it. So, we're still thinking it over, but it is on the table currently.
Upsurge is, for those of you that are asking, Upsurge is a Discord community very similar to Rising Summoners. They do host more games than just League of Legends, but they have a very big pool of players. They're more focused towards the Plat Plus divisions, where they do have developmental leagues for Gold and under, but we are looking, like Elucid said, we don't know if it's going to be a single elimination tournament, if they're looking for a mini season. Those are the things we are hammering out in our discussions. I just kind of wanted to tease that because a lot of times you guys don't necessarily get feedback because we like to finalize stuff before we present it to the community. But at the same time, I just kind of wanted to let you guys in on those little things just so you know that we are constantly at work, and when you ping us and we don't respond right away, it's not because we're like, oh crap, it's probably because we're doing something and we forgot about it. Just maybe ping us again, but not incessantly, because then you'll just annoy us and put us in a bad mood. But yeah, all that to be said, I'm just basically trying to relay that there are things going on. We are trying to provide opportunities for our community, trying to grow our community and make it more than just a U-Gold
for sure.
haven. So
haven. Yep. Just to touch on that, honestly, if you've been with Rising Summoners for now, nothing I say is ever guaranteed. You should just never take anything I say for yeah, we're gonna have this next season, all right? Because last 2 seasons I've said we're gonna have a U-Plat season the next season, and look what's happening. Okay, it's not happening. All right, fun fact.
Speaking of U-Plat, that's another thing.
Wait. I was gonna do a loop around on that one. So what I was gonna say is that the whole Upsurge thing, I'm not sure if we're gonna actually do it. Right now the decisions are not in favor of it because of how the time is set up for it, and I was talking to Ruther and he wants to do 3 seasons per year and just extend the seasons a little bit longer. We're still figuring out some details for at least next year because we want to really iron out some of the issues that we've had this season, which was starting season. If you remember season or week 1, they're awful. We had like nothing. Website wasn't working. Stats weren't updating. Admins were answering questions like 4 hours later. Rules weren't posted. There's just a lot of issues. So we're trying to iron all of these out before we decide, hey, let's take up a project that's not ours. But like Tonakos was saying, we will finally, likely, be bringing in the U Platinum League. That's actually it's more likely than it has ever been in the past, and we're very excited to work with the new organization that is very willing to merge with us and help us out and create this U Platinum League. So big thanks to Have Faith Esports who are willing to work with us, and I'm very excited for that. I might even be participating, but likely not because that's apparently corruption or something. But that being said, Toe Knuckles, all yours.
I do want to address something that maybe some people haven't necessarily asked, but I know they've had questions in their mind. We introduced Princess Vi earlier in the podcast. She talked about her in-houses. She is a member of Taste Like Purple. I myself am the team captain of Taste Like Purple. We are both recently promoted to EOs, and previously EOs were not allowed to compete in the leagues for fear of corruption. And I just want to put all your minds at ease. Elucid and Karma, who are kind of the two supremo overlords that make sure all the rules are followed, Rookter as well, they went through and they made sure that if they were going to do this, they were going to do it the right way. They now have hidden permissions or hidden roles in the Discord called tournament officials that we cannot see anything in Prestige League except our own specific team channel. So we don't touch Prestige League. We don't have anything to do with Prestige League. I am here to oversee production, make sure streaming goes on as scheduled, things like that. And Vi is here to run the in-houses and make sure those go smoothly, as well as direct our media. We don't have anything to do with the Prestige League, and our goal as EOs are separate from the league that we compete in. So that's how that decision was come about, and I just want to clear the air with that for anybody that may have concerns whenever that announcement was made, because we didn't address it right away. But now we're just going to get into some fun topics. I'm going to open up the floor to all three of my panelists. Just some general league things. What have been y'all's impressions so far on Worlds? Another TSM failure to get out of groups. C9, NA's last hope. SKT's chances to repeat. What have y'all thought about Worlds so far?
Misfits World Champions.
I've heard of that one before. I mean, IMT was a joke, and watching TSM play was frustrating. I really thought TSM was like the team this season that would represent NA at least to the quarterfinals. Come on, man! You had like, this has been like a godsend. What like the group they had, and they actually managed to lose to an EU team. So, I'm not discrediting Misfits because they're actually a very good team. They actually have a very nice roster. Alfari is very well known in the Korean community for being like a scary top laner. And if you know Korean top laners, they actually just don't even regard EU and NA as a region. So that says a lot about Alfari.
Look, Elucid, how you gonna go sleeping in my boy Top Die? The contracts in the jungle.
Contracts. That guy's 18 or 19 years old, and he's playing in Worlds. He's about as old as me, and he's like doing stuff that I can't even hold the same keyboard, dude. Like, he's insane.
So, I guess another thing, we know that NA is going back to a best of one format. Do you think they say it's for more entertainment purposes?
It is. It's they had a podcast about this with Rick Fox and Skara and I don't know if it was Voyboy and I'm a Cutie Pie.
Do you think it's really the secret though is to help TSM finally get out
of
of
like think about it like this, okay?
Round robin stage.
Think about it like this. NACS. If you watch NACS, okay, this is potentially where all this idea came from. or the general idea. NACS streamed Delta Fox a lot, primarily for viewership, because if you'd watch NACS, nobody watches that. It's like 15K viewers max, and then Delta Fox plays and they have 36K, and it's like 40K viewers, right? Like you're pretty much doubling your viewership just by putting on like 5 of the old like season 2, season 1 players. So watching those matches were like really kind of clown fiesta, and it was fun to watch. Like 1-game series are so much more fun to watch than a best of 3, because best of 3 is like the better team generally wins, but in a best of 1 it's like one guy picks like Kane or something, and you didn't expect that pick, and you pick like a jungler that normally would get countered by Kane, but you don't have a chance to like play around that, and then you get cheesed. Like there's a lot of instances where like QTPie made the point that yeah, you could just like literally lose by getting cheesed, which is honestly it's hilarious. So I mean, hopefully NALCS becomes a joke, and NA never wins Worlds ever again.
It's also a lot easier to view multiple games in a day. With best of 3 series, it's like, okay, I watched 1 series, maybe I'll watch another game or 2
Yeah.
from something else, but that's it. I'm not gonna go and watch like all the games. It's just too much. So in terms of like viewer, what's the word I'm looking for there?
Variety.
Both variety and like how easy it is for the viewer to get involved in it. It's just significantly better.
Yeah, because you get to watch new teams every time. Yeah, I mean, like I've always viewed the United States, or at least in the two of my favorite things, which is League of Legends and soccer, is the washed up realm, and basically like the we play for money kind of thing. So if you know, like a lot of the EPL players who play in soccer, who are like the top tier, like best players of all time, they come to the MLS and play for fun, right? And then they get injured and then they're gone. But I feel like that's what's happening. Like these Korean players are coming to the US because they're being offered contracts that would allow
100%.
them. What?
100%. That's what it is. They get like massive contracts.
Yeah, like why would Impact, who just been playing on SKT, and Piglet, for example, who came to Team Liquid, that was more because he got kicked off of SKT, but just they would not want to switch a region that's less competitive. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, I feel like NA's not gonna win Worlds ever.
Do you think franchising will help or hurt NALCS?
Dude, I don't care about NALCS. It like depends. Like what do they want to do with franchising? Is it just purely for economic benefit, or are they gonna like potentially
partially? Yeah,
like if it just becomes like a Team Liquid kind of thing, then
it's stability, and you still like there is the ability to be kicked out from the franchising if you are. I think it's
a consistent.
I don't know if it's bottom 2.
Yeah, consistent.
It might just be the bottom team, but like if you're the bottom team for I think 3 out of 5 splits or something like that, then you can be kicked out of the league. So you can't just like be franchised and hire some crappy player from solo queue to just be there and earn you money.
Yeah.
All right. We are a little bit over time, so we're gonna hit 2 more quick topics. Just quick thoughts on them. The new harrowing skins, Deathsworn, Victor, Zed, and Katarina.
I love Victor. I love Victor. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say.
Nice.
Like Victor and Zed are like one of my 2 favorite mid lane champions in the game, other than maybe Talia, but she's never gonna get a skin for like another year.
Dude, the Zed skin is clean, and
Yeah.
I love it because like the shadows are even more subtle, and it's a lot harder to track the shurikens. It's gonna.
I'll be honest, artwork has gotten a lot better in League of Legends. Like,
there's a lot of people that commented on that skin specifically too, but like if you actually look at the animations, it's so good.
It's really good, and sometimes really good animations calls for a lot of backlash because like if you remember iBlitzcrank, good times.
Oh yeah, some of the skins, like there are certain skins that have particle details that make it just a little bit harder to see. Like I know when the Star Galaxy Lux skin came out, like
Steel Legion, you mean, or Star Guardian?
Star Guardian Lux. Sorry, not Star
really?
Galaxy. It was the faint pink circle on the ground. There were certain parts of the map where it was really hard to see her E, just because of how light the pink was, and it wasn't like that shiny spot. Like at least on the Steel Legion, even though the Q had its own problems, the E was easy to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just
The
a lot
problem with Steel Legion was that Q and E animation, like when they were first coming out of the champion, were exact same. You couldn't tell, which is a really big issue.
Yeah, but that's all we're gonna touch on the skins because
skins are a luxury, and I don't have that kind of money.
But I just wanted to get
you.
I just wanted to get on that little hype train since they will be released soon. Last topic for the night before we wrap it up. Something that I've seen a little bit on Reddit discussions. What are you guys' thoughts on quests and League and some of the free content that isn't necessarily skins but bonus material? What do you guys think about the quests and
I
League?
think Here's the Storm. What else do you want me to think? I mean, like, Here's the Storm is like they do basically the same thing, but I feel like their quests are a little more like interactive, and they actually make you play like other stuff. This game, it's more like performance and like what they want you to get, like CS or like win a couple games doing this, get Rift Herald and Baron one game. It's like, I don't know. I don't like the quest personally. It feels like a chore rather than like, hey, I can just lock in like Zed and get a free point, win or lose, or like if I just get like one kill or something, right? I'm not saying I'm a lazy person, but I'm pretty lazy.
I mean, some of the quests are really hard. Like last week, the 5 melee champions. That one's a little bit more difficult to complete, but
and it only gave 5 tokens.
I think that's
the thing, though.
That was
optional,
nasty.
right?
Yeah, I think that was one of the reasons why it only gave 5 tokens. Because if you wanted to commit the time to get it, you're 5 tokens ahead, but it's not going to be super punishing if you don't get the hardest quest done.
But you're not being punished, right? Like, if you don't do a quest, it's not really a punishment. That's just, oh, you just didn't think it was worth the time of doing it, right?
Fair enough.
But
Hey,
like,
man,
if they gave me like 40 points for that melee, dude, my friend lost 11 games before she got it, and I was like, God, that's such a chore. And I got 5 tokens. Now that's punishment right there, if anything.
Now this week's 5 token quest is a little bit easier than that one. The 5 teleports. Teleport on a jungler might be fun to see.
Teleport or in jungle.
That's how that works.
So, but
Even when you got a recall, you don't have to recall. You just TP back.
I did buy the Masters Pass, so I already have my Championship Ash Chroma. I'm now working on getting the border. Hopefully there's enough time for that. Did you guys buy the Masters Pass to get the Chroma?
Heck yeah, I did. I'm really close. I'm 20 tokens away from
We
getting that
legit
chroma.
have like the most polar opposite people. You're just like, yeah, I just blew all my money on it. It was worth. I got a
Dude,
bunch of
I
tokens,
spent-
and I'm like, dude, I don't even finish the base quests.
I spent so much money on this game. It's unbelievable. But I'm 20 tokens away, and I don't even play Ash. It's just you're never gonna get that again. So I
Do
really
you,
want
do you get the chroma and the
it. And
champion?
the award.
You get
You get
You
the
get awards
do you, no?
and
Do
the
you, do you
chroma.
get the champion skin too, like the base?
No, you
Oh,
have to buy
okay.
the
Pay it
skin.
separate.
So I
So
bought the
you have to
base
buy
skin.
1280 and 1350 just to use it?
yes.
Maybe.
Come on,
It's
dude.
worth
That's
it.
like
100% worth
what
it.
they're saying with that is basically like, hey, by the way, this skin is worth pretty much the equivalent of like a legendary skin, or like
Exactly.
DJ Sona.
But how awesome
I
are you
also have
gonna
that skin.
feel when no one else is
The
rocking?
only nice
the
thing about that
chroma.
Ash skin is that sweet cape. The way it flutters in the wind, that's pretty sweet. But I'll give it that. That just
You
The
also-
other bonus of the Worlds Pass, though, is you're getting like an additional 300 tokens that you can spend on the orbs and stuff. So it's not just the skin you're buying.
That's true.
yeah.
But you
my
couldn't
big
get
issue
the
is
chroma.
yeah, I was actually talking. I was actually listening to a podcast elsewhere, and they were talking about how paying money to have a random action for something that you could potentially want, right? Like if you want a legacy skin, like a specific legacy skin, but there's technically currently no way to get it. You have to go for those Hextech orbs, or have to get lucky to get those legacy, and then those tokens itself, if you get the Hextech Legacy like shard, you have to open that, which has another percentage chance to have that. So I don't know. It feels like a hassle, really.
I don't understand between the difference between the world's legacy orb and just the world's orb. Like, there's no
You
difference.
get
The
legacy
same stuff.
skins. You
No,
get
you
guaranteed
could get
legacy
that
skins in
too.
one.
But you could get that.
Dude,
in the
it's a
other one, too.
scam. Dude, Riot's genius. Honestly, like, they're just playing on people's emotions. It's so good. I'm not gonna lie, if I ever went into a rank game with a new champion and I didn't have a skin, I always felt bad. That's why I always purchase a skin. I think I have a skin for every ADC in the game.
Yeah, I have a skin for like almost everybody. More
Speaking
than
of
one skin.
speaking of champions on release and things like that, I have had all the champions for quite some time. Used to buy them with IP as soon as they came out, or
Hey,
the champion shards.
That was a good
whenever-
change. That was definitely
Yeah.
a good change. I like that.
What about Blue Essence? Are any of you guys gonna have enough to get the Grey Warwick skin, or is it
Nope.
Grey Warwick that's coming out?
I have 8k essence right now for blue.
I have 16. What the fuck?
But you gotta remember, all the Blue Essence that you already have is gonna be that's
Tripled.
In your,
They're
yeah,
gonna be
no,
tripled.
6.5 is what.
6.5 multiplier?
Yeah,
Still won't have enough, dude. It's like 150k, right?
I
The
think it is
Earthquake
150k.
Jesus
But
Christ.
your IP that you also have is converted 1-to-1. So
Okay, but I have
Actually,
zero
what,
IP.
what you should be doing anyways is converting them all to champion shards and
Yeah.
disenchanting them.
And if you get anything that's like a 450 champion, you should just combine it with the other 450s to make a reroll so you get more value out of it. If you
Yep.
get anything around 200 or more, you should just cash out.
like right now, I have I did that recently, and I got to 14,000 Blue Essence, and I'm sitting on 12,000 IP. So I'm gonna have somewhere close to the 150. I think I'm. I think I'm right around the 105.
Dude, I have half as many as you.
So like, I think I might be able to get the Grey Warwick. Been saving up for a while because I have a big thing about.
Wait, I thought it was
collecting
Earthwick.
skins. I think it is Earthwick.
Okay, if it's Grey Warwick, that would be nuts. That would make the account worth more than how much effort you put into it.
But
You can sell an account with Grey Warwick for like $500, I think.
I take pride in getting things that are like not super common. That's why I was the sucker and went for the master pass to get the chroma on Ash because it's
Yeah,
like
me too.
only.
Fair enough. Collectors.
So,
Like
yeah,
that.
I'm a collector. Yeah, so I have all the ultimate skins. I have all the
I just like the
legacy
shiny
skins.
stuff.
So I have skins for champions I never play, multiple skins, and just because I want, if I ever get that champion in ARAM, I want to show off the sweet skin.
I have 3 Mundo skins.
I
played
every-
Mundo once in the last 3 seasons.
I have every Mundo skin except for the wrestling one that just came out.
Oh.
So like, yeah, like I'm a collector. So yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
no one wants to hear about my personal collection. If you do, you can.
New
DM
runes?
Me, new runes, November 8th. They'll come out right before playoffs. That'll be a nice shakeup. So
Oh my god, dude, those new runes. I've been playing on the beta.
Yeah,
they're
anyone
just- they're
can do
just
that now
too
as a
nice.
reminder.
They're just too
Yeah.
nice.
They opened up PBE signups, so if anyone does want
Oh,
to
yeah,
mess
they did that
around with
too.
that, you can just go and
Yeah, my
Different
cycle
guy.
was about to end and I reset it. So
not me. I'm gonna dive in blind. We're gonna experiment a lot, and
Oh,
it's
boy.
gonna be really bad for a while, but really fun too.
see,
So
here's what I'm thinking, because you guys remember, you guys were all around when Thunderlords first came out, right? And how we
Right.
had like a month and a half of just, if you didn't take Thunderlords, you were reported. That's pretty much what it
Yeah.
was.
Yep.
I kind of feel like that could happen potentially.
I
'Cause
think
there are
they're a
2
little bit more
branches.
balanced.
Yeah, well, I think they're a little more balanced and overpowered at the same time, but I think like there's no alternatives. Like some champions have alternatives, but I feel like there's less opportunity for that. But there are like a couple trees that are just absolutely nuts.
I have heard multiple things on YouTube. Some of the content creators, I watch a lot of videos from them just because I like to get a lot of feedback from a variety of sources.
Yeah, I
Some
personally
say-
watch a lot of Bro Fresco. Great
some are saying assassins are going to be coming back in a big way. Some are saying that this is going to completely kill assassins.
I haven't
hoping-
seen the tank runes.
I'm hoping that the former is more correct than the latter. I love assassins, but I know a lot of people don't. But Zed, Kassadin, I love those two, and if they die off, I will be one sad League of Legends player. So
Back to Oriana, I guess, right?
Oriana and Ziggs till the day I die, I guess. Maybe that spicy Zillion every once in a while. But what besides runes are you looking forward to in the preseason? Anything?
Nothing. This game sucks.
Anything that jumps out at you or as changes they've talked about in the preseason?
I can't wait to come up with a new busted tank Yasuo build.
Yeah, I feel like if they're not giving me an olive branch for playing support, I'm gonna be pretty pissed. Because the Ardent meta is not something I've personally liked, and it's been so unfun to play against.
What do you mean Janna and Lulu aren't the best supports in the game?
I was trying to lob you guys a fastball and give you a chance to talk about the new leveling system that's coming
out.
Oh,
that dude!
Y'all missed it.
Dude, they're just like what's the only thing good about Heroes of the Storm other than the monkey team fighting and like waste of gold as a team, right? They're just like, yes, the leveling system, and they just legit implemented that here, and I like it. I think it's great. It really, like, you can actually demonstrate to other players like what kind of commitment you have. Because right now, the only thing I can tell someone else about how committed I've been to League of Legends is that I have like 5K normal games. And that's literally the only thing I can say.
Yeah.
And people are just like, okay, you play a lot of games, whatever. But you guys played Overwatch, right? Lombax?
Yeah.
Played Overwatch?
I've played
you know when
quite a
people
bit.
have like those really fancy borders and stuff.
Yeah, and then
it
you like
represents the
check what
levels.
champions they've played and you judge them really harshly.
Yeah, and
for
then
it.
you judge them really hard, but you do that anyway. I mean, that's what OPGG's for, but
Yeah.
What about
it's gonna be nice.
what about opportunities to troll players even harder when you get the level 100 bronze 1 player?
I mean,
that's just called toxicity, but that exists anyway. Because if I see, cause the other day I saw a 2,000 game bronze 1 player, and like, why even look at that? I guess some people would find great joy in making fun of that, but I feel like that itself is the torture.
Personally, I don't really think that the leveling past 30 is a huge deal. It's kind of neat, but for me, how they're changing the leveling to 30 is actually what's going to be really nice. And I've like stopped leveling a couple alt accounts just because I want to get all the unlocks that you get for free from leveling an account from lower levels.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be sad that I don't get all the rewards for how many games I've put in. The XP.
You do get a nice little emote though, based on how long you've played. So I know I definitely will, and by your 5K normal games, you probably as will.
Yeah, I
also
started in
get
season 3, so
longest one.
I better get it.
Well, we are going to go ahead and end this podcast on those notes. So thank you all for joining us. Those that stuck around the entire time, those that joined midway through, those that are catching this on the replay. We thank you for checking this out. Hope we gave you some good information about what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on, and kind of our thoughts as to what's going on in front of your faces. And join us again in 2 weeks. I'll be your host. I'll probably have a different panel, may see some similar faces, may see some new faces, but we will be back with our Rising podcast again in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Final comment. I love the thumbs up emote. That's just hilarious.
No, it's not. It's
so
stupid.
funny. I just love it so much.
I absolutely detest how they changed the ability to spam it.
Yeah.
Because like I had a macro on my mouse with my worlds icon, so I could just press Control 6 all day, every day, and it spammed real nicely, and now they ruined it. I can't spam it as easily.
Oh my god. I just love the thumbs up button. It's just so stupid. Like how it shows up.
Okay, wait, hold on. I gotta say something. So, yesterday I was playing a game and I forgot what I binded my my emote to because I changed it because T is like the enemy pinging, like enemy has vision here kind of ping.
Yeah, that's
So
my trinket.
I was messing around with it and I accidentally pressed D and healed. I was so mad at myself. Just a little side comment, trying to figure out what I binded it to because I was too lazy to like look it up.
Y'all are
See-
really bad with a cutoff, by the way.
My dude, I hate cutting off when I love stupid stuff that like is like blatantly like hilarious if you just like stand out as an onlooker and you're just like, yeah, that guy's just spamming that penguin emote for no reason.
I'm
And
not
then-
paying 350 RP for them though.
Okay, I'm not
Screw
paying
that.
them, but
Yeah, I'm not
I think it's
either.
hilarious. Like it's funny. But the other one was the Maokai sapling one with the Miokai skin or whatever
Yeah.
it's called. That one's hilarious.
Meow Kai.
Whatever. Maokai. Yeah, that one's also my favorite. It's pretty cool.
Dude, I think the Jinx one's kind of cool. Anyways, besides the point, irrelevant.
Yeah, let's close it off now. I'm ready to go.
I
So
think I'm
once
ready to
again,
leave too.
thank you for joining us. Catch us again in 2 weeks, and we will hopefully have an update on in-houses. Hopefully have a bot. We'll maybe be checking out what's going on with that at that time. Checking out, giving you more information on sponsorship if we haven't already, and possibly have a tier list for pre-playoffs at that time. And I'm going to give you a guarantee about as solid as a Lucid's guarantees on the tier list because I just don't know. 2 weeks is a long time. But check us out, and thank you for joining us. Good night.